And we're live. So we're back. We're having a lot of technical difficulties because we don't know what we're doing with this, but we're still going to do it anyway. And I am going to, now I need to go ahead and share to, let's see, share to group. We're going to go LSU Sports Sound Off because I know you guys are going to want to see this. Let's see, we'll do LSU Nation, college sports. All right, so what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to bring on the J-Boy show here. Jack, entertain everybody while I am sending him the link, if you can. Tell them what we're doing today.
Yeah, we're going to break down SEC schedules.
What did J-Boy, why is he
J-Boy,
coming on?
wait, are we still in the same?
Why is J-Boy coming on?
Well, J-Boy said we're going 7-3.
That's right.
So we're gonna have a little talk with him. He said, what did he say? We're gonna lose to Florida, Auburn, Alabama.
Florida, Alabama, and A&M.
Florida, Alabama, and A&M. So he thinks we're gonna beat Auburn and then go lose to A&M.
Yep.
Wow. What the hell is that?
I don't know. That's what I want to talk to him about. So, and we're going to talk about our predictions for the show. For the season. And you have your prediction for LSU, correct?
So what predictions are we giving? Are we giving our game by game?
Are we
giving our
let's give a record.
Okay.
And we'll do that with J-Boy. We'll give a record. And then I want to know, who do you think we'll lose to at least? Yeah. So here's the thing. Everybody always gives their, like, we're going to go 9-1 or we're going to go 8-2, but they don't tell you who they think. That's what I liked about him, at least, is that he was giving us, like, no. Here's who y'all are losing to. And at least I like the confidence of it. Once I get this straight, guys, we'll get right to business because I know this is kind of hectic. Let's see.
It's just so impossible to predict an entire college football season.
It is, but this is our job. This is why we do this. This is why we wake up in the morning.
I mean, it's just, if you want to say we're going to go 9-1 and we're going to lose to one of Florida, Auburn, and Alabama, okay, yeah. In that 3 games of Florida, Auburn, Alabama, we're going to go 2-1 in that stretch. I don't know who the loss is coming from, but I think one of those is a loss.
And we have him coming on right now. So let me get my little thing right here.
Yo, can y'all hear me?
Hey,
yes,
I can hear you.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Oh, just kind of still looking at this schedule. I think it's kind of crazy.
It is crazy. So we were just kind of going through what we were thinking for LSU, and that's why we wanted to bring you on.
Yeah.
So, and here's what I was just saying this, Jake. Do you have your video up? Do you need to get it up?
Yeah, let me get it up. Hold on 1 second.
I want to see your pretty face, Jake.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of fidgeting around over here. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not. Oh, there we go. I bet that's how you. I bet it's the thing that says start video.
That's it.
Wow.
That's exactly it. Hey,
You
you sound like us.
Yeah, I'm like.
Jake, you sound like us.
What's up? What's up?
There you are, man. All right, this is J-Boy himself, Jake Crane.
Yep, checking in.
All right, so you were very confident yesterday, and I love confidence, Jake. So you not only said the schedule and like the records that you predict, but you also said the losses.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't do that here. So a lot of people will say, "Oh, this schedule looks good for us." I'd say 9-1, 8-2, and then you ask them, "Okay, well, 9-1, who are we losing to?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, it's probably either going to be these." No. I like the definitive answer.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. The way I look at it is, what's great about having the schedule, it has, everybody's games on it at once. And then obviously, if it's gray, it's away. If it's white at home, you really can kind of get a feel for other teams' season by, kind of looking at other teams' schedules, if that makes sense. And knowing that,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, I feel confident in saying that, you know, I think Florida's going to win the East and go 8-2. And, you know, I think they're going to beat Georgia. You know, I think, you know, off the top of my head, I think I'm losing to LSU and Tennessee the last game of the year after they have the division wrapped up. So, you know, you got to be able to have a rhyme for a reason. Now, you know, football's crazy, but just looking at the way the schedule's set up, man, I feel pretty confident about it, and we'll just have to see.
Yeah, so, all right, let's go to, we're going to hit right at it. This is the reason why I was like, okay, I was about to have a stroke last night. You said 7-3. Let's get it straight. Your real team, I know you're trying to stay neutral, your real team is Auburn, correct?
Well, yeah, but again, you know, I coach college. What I say is, you know, I coached college football for 9 years, and you know, Auburn hadn't sent me a check yet. So, you know, doing this, obviously, with my background, obviously my dad played at Auburn. People are going to think, oh, well, he's an Auburn homer. But, you know, I picked Auburn to lose to Alabama, you know, on the road. So it's not something where, you know, I'm going to pick them to go undefeated every year if I think they're going to have a bad year. Now, they still have a lot of question marks. There's a lot of question marks up front. But, you know, I looked at the schedule, and I really felt like having Bo Nix back, there's a few pieces they need to fit on the offensive line. If they do, they should be able to score points. And you know, defensively, they've been pretty consistent. And just the schedule kind of works out. But again, I don't have them winning the West. And I try to look at it from a wide lens. I try and look at it from the same lens I looked at, you know, when I was at South Alabama, we were playing Mississippi State and stuff. You know, you can't really look at it as a fan. You got to look at it as, you know, what am I used to seeing? What do they have this year? And that's really how I arrived at what I arrived at.
All right. Just quick question. Did you base your schedule predictions off of, like, fans and stands or anything like that?
I based it because I've been saying on the show, man, and I had Barrett Sally on today. You know, I've had, you know, Cole Kublik on, and we've been guessing it was going to be around probably 20 to 30%. We didn't think it was going to get close to 50. So I based that, and I think you're going to see that in Vegas. I think you'll see that on the lines. You know, typically you go to on a road game in the SEC, that's worth at least, you know, depending on the place, there's only a few exceptions, you know, 7 to 10 points in Vegas. And now, you know, I think the team that is legitimately the better team has a much better chance of winning road games when it's an elite matchup, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yes, I did. That's a long way of saying yes, I did. So sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, let's talk about LSU. 7-3 was the prediction for old J Boy. Tell me who we were losing to again.
Can we go through the schedule?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, let's go through the schedule because I want you to see the flow that I'm saying. Just to maybe, I know you're not going to agree with me, and again, I'm not Nostradamus. You know, I don't think I'm going to get everyone right. But again, just kind of looking at how it works, that's how I kind of arrived at my decision. But yeah, if we go through the schedule, I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
Yes.
You want to go game by game?
Yeah.
Or?
Can we?
Yes, absolutely. And Jack even made score predictions last night. Did I send that to you?
You did not.
I did.
Old. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Yes. So we did send it to you, but that was when we were in the heat of the moment. Now we're like we've simmered down a little bit.
10-0. Back to back undefeated, man.
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, all right. I'm not too far off of that, but yeah, let's go game by game.
So, week 1, Mississippi State
win
at home.
Can you say where it's at too for me?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So week 1, Mississippi State at home, win.
Yep.
At Vanderbilt, sorry.
That's a win.
Correct.
Missouri at home.
Win.
At Florida.
Loss.
Woo!
Okay.
South Carolina at home.
Win.
Oh, wait, hold on. Greg McElroy predicted South Carolina to beat us.
Oh yeah, he did on my TV
last night.
Yeah, I also watched T. Sharp and Bell pick Greg McElroy up and throw him around like a little kid. So I mean, I really don't trust him.
Drake Nevis did that too.
Yeah, y'all think I'm a homer? He should be on The Simpsons.
I like that. All right, so what was next? So that was South Carolina.
South Carolina. So we're 4-1 at this point, halfway point.
Yep.
At Auburn.
Loss.
Yeah. Bye. Bama at home.
That's a win. I think that's Alabama's only loss. I think you guys come off the Auburn loss. You get a bye. You get Bama at home. You know, I think that's when y'all pull out.
At Arkansas.
Law. Now, of course, it's a win, man.
Yeah.
You don't wait, Felipe Franks, you're not trusting in the Magic?
Man, I don't. Felipe, I heard he's a really good guy.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
I mean, I'm a big, what's the show called? Netflix show? Last Chance U. I'm a big Last Chance U.
Yeah, I was on it. I was on it 3 years in a row, man. I'm undefeated on it.
What were you at? Where were you at?
Crazy story. So when they were at East Mississippi, I was at Jones County. I was coaching the DBs and special teams, and we were the team that beat East Mississippi when they had those players suspended. So we were at Jones County.
Oh, yeah.
The next year, I got a better job at Iowa Western, and that's when they went to Independence, and we were the team from Iowa they said sucked, and we beat them 72-21. And the best part, next year I took the defensive coordinator job at I took the recruiting coordinator, special teams coordinator, and secondary coach job at Fort Scott. And the head coach fired the defensive coordinator 3 weeks in. I took over as the DC week 4. Our first game is on Netflix against Jason Brown and Last Chance U, and we beat him 33-0. I said, I've been on it enough. Don't I get to get, slimed or something at least on Nickelodeon? Or I get, to get,
right.
or something?
I think you should be on the way to Disney World.
Dude, something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just don't get the guess. I don't know how it works out in LA, I guess.
That's crazy.
So, all right, let's go to the next one.
Where were we? Okay, we just beat Arkansas.
Right.
At A&M.
Loss.
Okay.
Yes. Ole Miss at home.
Win.
Last one.
Win.
Okay.
So that's the 7-3.
Okay, so let's start from the bottom. You want to do that? Okay, so what is it that you're seeing in A&M this year?
And to be honest with you, my biggest question, everybody always talks about A&M, they talk about who? Kellen Mond, right? My question is on defense. And if you look, they haven't been good enough, especially in big games, on defense to be able to, I don't want to say compete against elite teams, but they always fade. They always seem to fade on defense, and they get hit by that outside zone. Are they, the backside backer, underplays the power, and the safety's out of position, and it's a touchdown. Some always happens. But I think this year, especially with it being at A&M, I think they have some guys returning on defense. I like what they have up front on defense. And, that's really all John Chavis needs is to be decent up front. You guys know that better than anybody. But at the end of the day, I think it's a game during that time of the year. It's going to be huge. I think the race is still going to be tight. And I just feel like, because if you look at that stretch, LSU goes, I think you said it, Florida, South Carolina, Auburn, Bama. Yeah. That's a tough stretch. And, Auburn's tough stretch is really at the end of the year. And, man, that's just a game I think A&M pulls out at home. I don't think the crowd's going to be that big of a deal. But I think Kellen Mond, that's one where he's actually going to show up and win the game. I think it'll be close. That game's crazy sometimes. I think y'all went to 35 overtimes a couple years ago. But that's one I think that A&M is going to push them to 7-3.
Oh man! Now, where's my antacid, Jack?
One close game with these guys.
We've had one game.
Guys, but you're living again. You can't.
In the last 10 years.
You can't. And again, I'm all for looking at the past, but and again, Auburn was in the same position in 2010. Okay, but y'all had a much better team around Joe Burrow than what Cam Newton had around him. That LSU team is as talented as there's going to be, as well as having a generational guy at quarterback. There's going to be a step back. I'm going to tell you that they're not going undefeated. I don't think anybody in the league is going undefeated. Now, they could easily go 8-2. They could, if they catch a break, go 9-1. But I look at that game at Auburn. I think that's one where, and y'all know that rivalry. It's crazy, but Auburn's due on that one, and y'all know how that works. But the A&M game, I think, is the one that's going to determine who finishes third in the West. And I just feel like that's the game that, Jimbo is going to pull out at home, and they'll always win when they're not supposed to and lose a couple that they're supposed to win. So I know that doesn't, agree with what you guys think. Y'all don't agree with me, but, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, that's all right.
No, so, yeah, what I think about more than anything, and I think this is where I think locally compared to nationally for LSU football, sometimes there's two different trains of thought. What I think of is not just the athletes, because I do know the roster up and down, and I know who we had and who we lost, obviously. But what I remember, especially Joe Burrow is the perfect example of this. 2018 Joe Burrow versus 2019 Joe Burrow. What do you think the differences are?
Well, the biggest difference to me is, especially when you're a guy that transfers, is that clock just keeps ticking and ticking faster and faster and faster. And what it does to you is it puts you in a zone, and it puts you even more in a mindset of, nothing scares people more than dying or running out of eligibility. And Joe Burrow was to a point where he transferred to a place. It was a great situation when he got here. But as you get more involved and you go through the walkthroughs and you live, on campus, then off campus, and you get used to being an adult and being by yourself, you're able to then develop a routine. And when your clock's running out, especially when you're a high profile guy coming out like Joe Burrow, you realize how you got to strike while the iron's hot. And, that's something even he talks about now with the pandemic, is the same guy that was in his situation may not get to show his stuff this year and may not end up being the number 1 overall draft pick because he's not playing. What do you think the biggest difference is?
I think it was the scheme.
I mean, yeah, but you can't tell me that in Ohio State scheme he wouldn't have thrown for a lot of yards.
That's not.
No, I'm saying in 2018 scheme compared to the 2019 LSU scheme.
Transfer.
I'm talking about
Joe Brady. There's a reason he got the love that he got. He deserves it. But again, I'm watching Joe Burrow, and it doesn't matter how good of a coach you have, and Cam Newton can do the same thing. If I can sit on the left hash and throw the corner to the field on the right hash like a whip, there's not a lot of coverages that you can run because there's holes everywhere. And you're right. What Joe Brady understood was that Joe Burrow's arm and his timing is so good that if we can run developmental routes down the middle of the field and they don't have to be perfect, all we have to do is protect it. And I think LSU did such a great job of attacking not only the intermediate, but the deep ball, because Joe Burrow was the best deep ball thrower in the country last year.
Yes, I agree.
You're right. I agree with you. I think
so. And what I like to look at are the statistics too. So if you look at Joe Burrow 2018 to 2019, in my opinion, like he came in to the season late, obviously, and it took him a little bit in 2018 to kind of get his arms around the team. But he was a good quarterback. As far as statistically, I wouldn't say he was anything more than that. The 2019 jump, though, in my opinion, the scheme put him in the position to just explode.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah.
The scheme is a huge part, but by no means is it all of it. Now, once you start, because again, man, Joe Burrow just did so many things so well. He was so poised. Joe Brady and him were on the same page. And what you get from a guy like that is you can tell the communication was good. The receivers were out there and they were able to, and LSU didn't run a ton of what I thought were option routes because they didn't have to because they were so talented. But just being able to throw the back shoulder, with the violence that Joe Burrow throws it, and the ability of, Chason and all those guys being able to go win jump balls, win 50-50 balls. That's a huge part of it, as well. LSU's receiver core was just, so good with the ball in the air, and that's what it comes down to. But, before I got to run, I got an interview to do here in about 15, 20 minutes. But I want to know, so what do y'all think? What do you guys think on the schedule for LSU?
So we were just having a discussion on this because I think, all right, I woke up this morning, and last night I was all like guns a-blazing, let's go. But this morning, I'm a little bit more reserved. I'm thinking 9-1.
Okay. Now, see, I don't think crazy thinking that. I don't, again, it's 2 bounces, right?
So I'm looking at, and so here's where me and you are different, though. I'm looking at, obviously we're taking a step down from what we were last year offensively. 6,000 yards and 60 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's NCAA football offensively, man. Like, yes, that's it.
All right, so if we were
e-sport last year.
Right. So if we were in a regular 12-game schedule like we normally would have been, I was already predicting Miles Brennan to have probably 4,000 passing yards and 40 touchdowns.
In his first year ever playing in the SEC.
Well, he's a third-year junior.
I'm talking about playing
Yes.
though.
Fourth-year junior.
I'm talking about playing though. Actually, like you can be a ninth
Yes.
year, you can be a ninth year freshman, but until you played in that game under them lights, you ain't been baptized by the fire.
With these wide receivers in this scheme and his arm, because it's better than Joe Burrow's, 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. When I say better, it's stronger. He's not as accurate as Joe Burrow, and he doesn't have the decision making, I would assume, either, because I haven't seen it. But we're talking about a massive step down when I say that, right?
You think Miles Brennan has a stronger arm than Joe Burrow?
No,
yes, absolutely. Joe Burrow would tell you the same thing. I think there was an interview that said it.
Joe Burrow said it before, yeah.
So, all right, so that I'm giving you 2,000 passing yards and 20 touchdowns difference.
Yeah, I just 40 touchdowns is a lot. That's a lot.
60 is a lot, right?
Yeah, but you can't go off that. I mean, that's like going off McGuire's home run record. Like that's like saying like that's a year that may never be repeated. You know, like that.
Okay, so yeah, so say we put Bo Nix in LSU's offense last year, and he's the quarterback. How many passing yards does he have?
I would say
same offense, same scheme, everything.
I would say Bo would have. I say Bo would probably have around 3,800, maybe 4,000. And I would say he would have 26 touchdowns.
Last year, Bo Nix, or this year, Bo Nix?
Last year, Bo Nix.
Last year, Bo Nix, he would have close to 4,000 passing yards.
And 26 touchdowns.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, a true freshman's having that, and now
with those receivers. But if you're saying that LSU don't have all those receivers they had last year.
We lost Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
he was
pretty good.
Yeah, Jamar Chase is the Biletnikoff.
I'm not saying anything against, but here's the thing. It's nice when you have Justin Jefferson because you can't bracket Jamar Chase. And if you do, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying LSU doesn't have another guy, but it's just
I think what a lot of people aren't seeing though is that we just added 5-star Kayshon Boutte, who's gonna. They all say he's a star.
I mean, yeah, he's a freshman.
Eric Gilbert played hardly at all last year with Trey Palmer.
Our senior tight end just left the team because the freshman coming in was too good and already beat him out. So, like, there's a lot of talent coming back.
Listen. I'm the first, and I've been saying this for 3.5 months. LSU's going to be as talented because Ed Orgeron and that staff is full of such great recruiters, and LSU is what it is. What I'm saying is, when I look at that schedule, so when you look at that schedule, who's the one loss?
In my opinion, it would be Alabama.
At home. So you think Miles Brennan is going to go? Who are the away games again? Give me the away games.
So the tough ones we're talking about is Florida, Auburn, and A&M.
So he's going undefeated in those.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, because like we said earlier, we don't know what the fans are going to be.
Well,
like.
yeah.
I'm counting on.
I think those. I mean, you look at. When you look at it, regardless of, and I don't think you can speak of it in terms of Joe Burrow like he's still there. If you look at, and again, LSU has it pretty good starting off. So they'll have a chance to get some chemistry, get going. But man, it's gonna be tough to go 3-0 in those away games. Now, to be honest with you, like 8-2 to me would be a fantastic year for LSU. I don't think anybody at Auburn would be upset with 8-2 at all. So
when we were looking back at the season before all this happened, Florida, we were going to have Texas at home, and we thought we could still beat Texas. Florida on the road, first road game for Miles Brennan, I was thinking, okay, this is going to be the test. Like, this is the test. You got Miles Brennan finally on a road game spot, hostile atmosphere, all that. Now I think you're going to have limited fans, if any.
Yeah, it'll be 25%.
I don't think they're going to be able to affect the game like they were before.
No.
Which is why I'm switching that over now. If I'm looking at Florida, here's where we had to come to grips last year as LSU fans. Everything changed for us. Our offense outscored everybody.
Yeah.
Our defense just had to limit mistakes and limit. That's all they had to do. We were still going to outscore everybody by 20 points. That same offense is there. The same scheme and everything.
Joe Burrow isn't there. Listen, here's what I'm telling you, bro. Joe Burrow was the number one pick in the
agree.
NFL draft. You don't
Right.
just replace that guy and everything's the same. There's gonna be
That's
a
not what we're
drop off.
saying.
It's like Auburn with Derek Brown.
Even with a drop off, we're still going to be 9-1 if not undefeated. Is kind of what I'm even thinking.
Yeah, and again, I think it may be 3 or 4, maybe 5 plays that determine the difference between 9-1 and 7-3 this year.
Well,
So,
look, I don't think Florida and Auburn are blowouts by any means, but I think we're talented enough and we're good enough and we can score the points. Our problem in the past 10 years, Les Miles and everybody, was, are we going to be able to score enough points to win the game? Those questions are answered now.
yeah, here's what I'll do.
The defense is good.
And I got to run here in a second, but here's what I'll make it deal with you guys because I like you guys. Y'all do a good job.
Okay.
If LSU goes undefeated on the road, I will drive to wherever you are right now, and I will chug a beer, if that's cool, on the show or do something you guys want me to do.
Yes.
Live. I'll sing the LSU fight song. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But
LSU, I got a Burrow jersey. We'll put that on you. LSU
look,
fight
that's
song.
Fine, baby. That's fine. Look, we're all LSU, man. We're all. I love it. But if LSU loses a road game, what do I get in return? What do I get? Because I don't want anything, Auburn or whatever. All I would like is a tweet.
You don't want Auburn? You don't
all
want?
I would like. Here's what I'd like. I'd like you to pin a tweet for a week saying that J-Boy was right and you were wrong. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, we'll do. I'll do that for
Deal.
sure.
All right. Man, you guys do it.
If we go undefeated, it'll be. I'm gonna think of something else.
Y'all may
All together.
If we go undefeated, you come on down here for the whole
Yeah, I'll set you on fire. All right, we're gonna have you back on, J-Boy. Okay, bro.
Definitely, I appreciate you guys. Y'all do a really good job and keep grinding, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Let's go to our.
I switched over, right?
Gotta switch it. There we go.
Bingo.
All right, we're there. And now we still didn't get ourselves set up on the One Team One podcast, did we?
No.
I screwed this all up.
Did you?
I'm trying. I'm really trying. Okay, so we had somebody share us just now. Anyway, let's talk about it a little bit more with LSU. So I'm saying 9-1, and this pains me to say 9-1 with our one loss being Alabama. If we're going to go 9-1, it's, to me, the Alabama game would be the one that I would think of, because if it's at home, I'm thinking limited fans. The atmosphere isn't the energy that you would normally expect from an LSU-Alabama game. It's going to not affect the road team as much as it normally would.
Yeah.
I think my reasonings are good. I still think we can beat Alabama.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like, we were talking about it. If I go game by game, individual games,
Yeah.
I say we win every single game on the schedule.
All right. So let's talk about his. Let's talk about his again, because I'm gonna say, come join us. Can we do that? Okay. Come join us. Oh, look, One Team One podcast. There we go. Boom. I just shared it to One Team One podcast. All right. So if you look at those 3 games that he's talking about, us losing to Florida, Auburn, and Texas A&M on the road. Texas A&M is just laughable, right?
Yeah. We think so. We like to think so.
I do. I think it's ridiculous to think that, we just humiliated that team. 50-7. Kellen Mond didn't even have 100 yards passing. And now all of a sudden Kellen Mond's all SEC caliber and is going to beat LSU. To me, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The 2018 to 2019 difference of LSU is night and day. And I don't think people still realize that difference.
Yeah, it's hard to explain it to people.
It
That's
is.
what I just found.
It really is.
Like,
I feel like I'm screaming, too.
It's just like, how do you explain to somebody that says, okay, but you're losing Joe Burrow, Joe Brady, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
And then you say, I guess we did let him know that Miles Brennan does in fact have a stronger arm than Joe Burrow.
Yeah, he did
That's
know
a
that.
common misconception too, is that people think that Joe Burrow had this cannon of an arm.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not true.
and that's national. So these national,
It's because a lot of people said that Joe Burrow's deep ball was really good, which it is.
right,
Extremely accurate.
right,
But he wasn't. He's not throwing it 70 yards down the field. He's not, Michael Vick, Joe Flacco, Jamarcus Russell.
yeah, and I think that's the what you just said about the accuracy. Like obviously, to me, those are the things that are going to be the biggest problems for Miles Brennan is having the accuracy and the decision making. But I still think, even if it, all right, let's just hypothetically talk about stats, touchdowns to interceptions or something like that. 10-game SEC schedule, could somebody get to a 25, 30 touchdown season, 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions?
It's just tough.
It is tough, but we have a good schedule set up by the SEC, and I think they did that obviously for LSU and Alabama in mind to try to help them out, try to get them to either like a championship or whatever. But oh man, I don't know. I just think that
Here's another thing. We've been talking about what's the biggest thing that could derail the LSU offense this year in interceptions and turnovers.
right.
But what I just remembered today, do you remember hearing about Miles Brennan in high school, that big long streak of pass attempts that he went on without throwing an interception?
Yeah.
It was
The Gabe Petito was telling us that, correct?
370 or something like that.
Right.
Something crazy. So I mean, granted, it's the difference between high school ball and SEC, but he seems like he's not the kind of guy who throws picks very often.
I think a lot of him is going to be knowing when to not put all the juice on the ball. Take a little off. He's got a strong arm.
He's working
on his touch.
They say he's worked on throwing a more catchable ball already.
Yeah.
And that he's improved on that.
Who told us about the catchable ball? Was that Gabe Petito as well?
Probably Fertitta.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have been Cody yesterday.
May have been Cody talking about the catchable ball and the tight spiral that Miles Brennan throws. We just saw a clip of him the first practice being more like a.
That was Gabe. You talked about
it was Gabe being right. Well, yeah, that's right. So, Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall, Racing McMath, Trey Palmer, we're just completely loaded with guys. I finally shared it to the One Team One podcast.
We're on Twitter.
We're on Twitter as well. So
yeah, you look at the Facebook stuff.
I'll look at the Facebook. Okay. So,
Get comments and stuff.
all right. So Florida. That's the first game that he said we were going to lose.
Yeah. I can't. It's hard to argue with that. They're good. We're also good, though. I think we're gooder.
Gooder. Yeah. I think our defense is enough to kind of slow down Kyle Trask, right?
Yeah.
I always go back to, this is what we did last year. How many points were they going to score against us? 24?
24. That's what I had.
So we're going to score more than 24 points against Florida? Then what are we talking about?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I keep going back to is our offense is just different than people think it is. You're not going to see a 24-17 Florida against LSU game. That's not happening.
Yeah. To predict Florida to win, for me,
you know what else I can see?
It takes wild things happening, like in that Auburn game in 2019, where just crazy things happened for them to lose that game by only 3 points.
Right.
That's what it would kind of take for us to not score a ton of points, which could happen in a certain game.
Sure.
And that's kind of the basis of my 9-1 pick, is that some crazy shit might happen. I don't think we're as good as we are last year, so maybe crazy stuff happening would result in a loss.
Right. It would have to. In my opinion, the only reason why we would lose to a Florida or an Auburn is because Miles Brennan throws a pick six, a fumble, they get an easy score. Kind of like the Auburn game last year. that they had it set up to pull off an upset, and we
Yeah.
still
We still
basically won by 10 points. They had a garbage touchdown.
Right.
They were the closest of anybody. We had to play terrible. We had to play awful, and then. But
they had to design this crazy defensive scheme to.
Which you're going to see. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody's going to come up with something that's going to give us fits.
They had to do like the absolute best job that any defensive coordinator did against us last year. Plus, crazy things had to happen. Plus, we didn't play well.
I don't see a game where we score under 24 points all year.
I mean, yeah.
I know it's hard to tell you that, but like,
that's why I hate picking.
Would you be shocked if we scored 21 points against Auburn? Only 21 points?
No.
You wouldn't be shocked?
I think Evansville's very good.
I would be shocked.
Auburn's I don't know what to expect from Auburn's defense this year. I mean, they lost Marlon Davidson and the better defensive tackle and the other first-round corner.
Yeah.
Who I can't pronounce his name.
Oh, I just know they're going to have studs and they have a good scheme. But
I just know that Auburn is losing some 3 really good players.
I think it sets up perfectly for us to go to Florida, limited fans, go to Jordan Hare, limited fans. Those are 2 tough road games that aren't going to be quite as tough as they normally are.
Yeah.
Kyle Field, same
Jordan
thing.
Hare's
Kyle Field, I mean, come on. How many times have we beaten Texas A&M at Texas A&M?
like almost all of them.
Yeah. Come on. So that's ridiculous. I don't even want to talk about that one. That just gets me hot. But the Auburn one, I still think we're a couple of touchdowns better than these guys. It's not hard for me to tell you that.
Yeah. That's why when you brought up the Bo Nix, like what would he have done in this offense? Like it's comparing apples to oranges with
Absolutely it is.
Miles Brennan, because Miles Brennan is
that was my point.
Miles Brennan's a better passer than Bo Nix. I don't think he was picking up on that because I think he was saying.
Well, and he was also saying that true freshman
I think
coming
he was
in.
thinking that Bo Nix is better than Miles Brennan.
Yes, he was.
And I don't agree with that.
At the end of the year, this is my bold prediction, my hot take. Miles Brennan is the first team quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah, that's definitely within the realm of possibility.
I am very interested to see what happens at Georgia. And we'll switch gears a little bit. We can kind of talk about maybe SEC, and then maybe we can talk about SEC championship, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Alabama?
Let's do it. Get right into it.
Okay, so who you lead me. Lead me off.
So the 2 teams they picked up were at Missouri and I think Kentucky at home.
This is who we're talking about?
Alabama,
okay.
So they got A&M week 2, Georgia week 4, both at home.
Okay.
At LSU after the bye, obviously, and Auburn on the typical Thanksgiving weekend, and then they finish at Arkansas.
Okay.
So I went through that, and I was trying to think of like what a good line would be for that, and I said 8-5. So out of the LSU, Auburn at home, Georgia at home, A&M at home, I said kind of like 2.5 wins out of those 4 games.
All right. So who are they losing to? I know I get back to this over and over.
You just love to try to pin me down, don't you?
This is Alabama we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mainly the big chunk of losses, of that 1.5 losses, would be Georgia LSU.
Yeah, so
I think the Georgia game is very losable.
I do too. Here's the thing. I know we kind of shit on Georgia a little bit because Georgia, we've beaten them the last 2 times, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Georgia's defense is very good. Very good. Good enough to hold a team like Alabama to like 17 points. And it being like an ugly, grinded out kind of game, that's the kind of defense that I think they are, and I think that could be the difference in a game like that. So I could see them losing that game. The LSU game to me is a toss-up.
I didn't even mention this, but right after Georgia, they go to Knoxville, and
Yeah.
like I'm not
Tennessee's
I'm not
better, but
a Tennessee
I don't,
believer,
I'm not on
but
that yet.
I don't know if you remember the game last year, but Tennessee came that close to making that a game.
Right. No, I know. Yeah.
Garantano tries to play hero
Yeah,
ball and
that's
doesn't hand the ball off.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Ended up being a 14-point swing.
I think that they'll be fine with that one. I keep thinking of Alabama. Obviously, they have some wide receivers out there that are studs, but Najee Harris just gets completely underrated to me. Like I don't hear his name enough for some reason in my head. I think he is like a
Dude,
superstar.
I see so many people that say Kylan Hill's the best running back in
That's
the league.
ridiculous.
And
Najee Harris.
Like my head always just goes like, dude, Najee Harris.
Najee Harris is a
freaking
beast.
good. Like, I mean, we couldn't handle him at all.
No, if they would just kept running the ball and controlling the clock against us, that would have been their best shot.
Yeah, in the first half. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
We couldn't stop anything they were doing in the second half.
No, they were turning the ball over though by throwing it where they needed to just pound the rock.
When the first half?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. The LSU game, so I could see LSU winning that Alabama game, but if you had to pin me down and ask me which game do I think they're going to lose, it would be the Alabama game.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that I think they're going to go undefeated, but
I just do.
it could happen.
I just do. And
You want to just call it that we're the podcast that we're just like, it's 10-0.
Usually I'm not there yet to saying like we're
Oh,
going
I was there right after.
Usually it's like right at week one. I'm like, oh, fuck it, we're going undefeated.
After the SEC Network had announced the schedules, I was like, this is it, man. We're there, man. We're in the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
Hey,
I just feel it. Like I just feel it.
I know. I do too. I go back to again, like our offense is just going to outscore these guys. I don't know what to tell you. I think it's going to happen.
Last year, I remember there was one point. I think it was like a week and a half before the Georgia Southern game, and I said to myself, I was like, "We're going to go undefeated." And then I started like a psychopath, hysterically yelling at myself for saying that to myself.
So I wasn't there that early last year. Like last year, I had to see a little bit more. I was very much like, okay, I've heard a lot about our offense opening up. I need to see it to believe.
Oh, I mean, I do it every year. It's not like a realization I came to or anything. It was just like I looked at the schedule and was like, no losses on that thing.
Yeah.
Even though it was like a super tough schedule.
Yeah, it was the hardest schedule we probably ever had. Well, we had. It is the hardest schedule.
Year before that was even tougher.
So, all right, we've gone through Florida. Kyle Trask is not beating us. Auburn, Bo Nix is not beating us. Kellen Mond is definitely not beating us. That's a joke.
Yeah, that's the biggest joke I've ever heard. I don't understand why J-Boy thinks that we're going to lose to Florida, Auburn, A&M, and beat Bama. I never have understood those
Well,
predictions.
it sounds though like he's going the away game.
Well, right,
as being a tough environment.
But that kind of contradicts what he said at the beginning when he said that he thinks it's only going to be 20% capacity and it's maybe not going to have a serious effect, and that the better team is normally going to win.
Right.
And then he says we're going to beat Alabama and lose all three of them.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. I think that, and I'm seeing all the reports too about, phase 2, fans in the stands, that kind of stuff, and I just think realistically that's not going to happen this year, and you're going to be lucky to just have games and very limited fans in the stands, and enough shortage of fans to where it's not going to make a difference on the game.
Yeah, we talked about that before too. I actually think that a 20,000 fan Tiger Stadium can impact the game.
No.
It obviously it's not going to impact the game.
You weren't there during Curly Hallman, so you don't know what that sounds like.
Okay, yeah, but that's 20,000 fans watching a shitty football. This is 20,000 fans that are hyped to be there, like they really want to be there. They paid probably a ton of money to be there. I still think those fans can make a slight impact on the game.
I don't think they can. We're just
How
going
would
to
they not?
20,000 fans. That's a high school game.
That's significantly larger than a high school game. I don't know.
That's
where you
Memorial
go.
Stadium. capacity, 20,000.
When does Memorial ever get filled to capacity though?
Barely ever. I mean, you have like Catholic and Evangel coming in town or something like that, and it'll fill up. But you're talking about everybody close together in a bowl for 20,000. Yeah, it can make a difference. But the way in a 100,000 seat stadium, 20,000 is
They
not
wouldn't
going
be
to.
spread out though. They wouldn't be. There would be no one in the upper deck.
What do you think? Okay, let's go back to that then. Like, how do you think that if they did 20,000 fans in the stands, they're just going to have them all sitting together?
Yeah.
Masks,
Yeah.
all
Masks.
sitting together.
Masks all sitting together.
Not
They really
not
do.
social distance at all.
How can you social distance?
I don't know how they would enforce that either, but it
I
sounds
don't-
like
I don't
that's
see
the
how
reason
physically
why.
possible.
It sounds like that's the reason why they would go down in capacity is because they're doing
But
a.
you're not going to have in a 20,000 fan stadium. You're not going to have people in the upper deck. They're going to close that off.
I would assume so too, but I don't really know what they're going to do. I don't think that's just me. I don't think 20,000 is going to do anything for Miles Brennan at the Swamp. 20,000 people, and he's having a hard time hearing.
No, it's not. That's not going to affect.
What's it going to affect?
That's not going to affect offenses being able to communicate. It's not. But I think like if a team isn't playing great, and then all of a sudden you hear like a decent little LSU chant. I mean, I think I can get the team going.
Okay. Well, I agree with that, but
it can swing the momentum still.
yeah, I can see all that.
I don't think it'll affect.
I'm thinking of like Miles Brennan.
Trying to communicate to Jamar Chase to run a different route.
I'm thinking of Miles Brennan rattled, kind of like seeing ghosts and making bad decisions because it's just so hectic, and that to me that's out the table.
Yes, I agree with that.
Well, that being out the table, I don't think he has a problem with Florida, Auburn.
Okay, yeah, if you're only talking about Miles Brennan, sure.
Yeah, mostly I am, yeah. Because
Yeah,
everything
but
else
also
around
Miles
is.
Brennan's going to be one of the most prepared quarterbacks in the entire SEC.
Hey, you're preaching to the
Because
choir.
he has-
I get it.
One of the best, because he has one of the best coaching staffs in the country.
Right. No, I agree. I completely agree with you as
So
well.
yes, Miles Brennan, I don't think will be affected by 20% stadiums.
I agree.
But I still think like if your team's not playing well, you need something to get you going. 20,000 fans screaming and hollering could do something for you.
I don't think so. All right, so let's talk about Georgia, their road, because we've kind of gone over Alabama, and this is so weird because it's 9-1 would be my prediction because I do think we would lose a game somewhere. It's a tough schedule, even though we got an easy road. But if I had to pick one game, it would be the Alabama game still because of that same thing that we were just talking about. Where
With Georgia?
No, LSU and Alabama. So yeah, no, we are going to move on. But what I'm reiterating is, I think they would lose to Alabama because I don't think it was going to be as hard of a game for Alabama in a 20,000 capacity, even 50,000 capacity Tiger Stadium.
I agree. But Alabama's another one of those teams where like
I still think we can beat them.
A loud crowd does not affect Alabama because their coaches, they're all so well prepared.
Agreed. Yeah.
And like every time they played here, when we've had like a crazy crowd, they end up winning the game.
Well, yeah, but I think things have changed now to where our scheme is different.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think
true. They're
compared
different
to
to play
that,
in a Death Valley
oh my God,
with 40 points being dropped.
the 2018 LSU Alabama game,
That was the most
it was-
depressing game we've ever been in.
but it was the most they had the most energy of any LSU game that I've ever been to pregame. It was so off the charts,
Yeah.
crazy,
It was unreal.
that I was like, we're about to crush it. We're about to kill them. We're about to blow them
Yeah,
out.
Tua walked on the field. I was like, this dude's about to get smoked.
And of course, all hell broke loose
He
on us.
hobbled 60 yards.
I left early. I left the game early.
That's the only game I've left early in the past 5 years.
We missed the field goal.
You left after the field goal?
Right after we missed the field goal, and I was like,
That's when all my
it serves you right
That's
for
when all
trying a field goal right now.
Yeah, I was so mad at Coach O for kicking that field goal. I felt like he quit on the team right then.
Yeah, they were just kind of
Let's
gave
not
up.
go back through those.
No, we're not going to do that. So, all right. So we'll go to I think Georgia can beat Alabama. And what I think could end up happening, and this would hurt LSU, but you could have a one-loss LSU, one-loss Alabama team. But
At the end of the year.
yeah,
Without them having the head-to-head.
Alabama beating LSU and being able to go, I could see that happening.
What's it-
But that would mean they would lose to Georgia.
There was that. There were those 2 years when Ole Miss beat Alabama. You remember that? 2014 and 2015.
Yeah,
And then both those were in mid-September or something like that. So Alabama had to go the rest of the year knowing that if they don't win out, they're done.
right.
And Alabama would beat the shit out of everyone
Right.
because they knew that it was like win or go home
Right.
every single game, and it sucked. That was the 2015 game when Fournette ran for 30 yards or so. And I could see that being a case here where Georgia beats Alabama, and then every single game, Alabama is just throwing the kitchen sink at Kentucky and whoever,
Right. So the Georgia game is an interesting one to me. The Georgia team, I should say, because they are supposedly changing their offense a little bit as well. Allegedly.
I could see a situation where Georgia's running more of an offense, like kind of similar to this could be like their transition year.
Right.
So maybe a little bit better than like LSU 2018 because they're not coming from a situation as bad as Les Miles. So maybe their transition period wouldn't be quite as bad as ours.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they change their offense, I'm terrified of Georgia. Honestly, they're just loaded.
Yeah, I think so too. It would be like you have a combination of a really good defense, and then you have an offense now, and that they've been pretty conservative the last couple of years.
They probably have the best offensive line in the SEC.
Yeah, good offensive line.
Probably the best stable of running backs in the SEC.
Good running backs. Who's going to start quarterback?
Who cares? They're both pretty good.
Newman and JT Daniels.
I don't think JT Daniels is going to start because apparently he's still got knee issues. So he's not going to be there for like a couple weeks.
Yeah, so we'll then
It
it would
looks
be
like
Newman.
it's Newman. Although he's got a foot problem too.
Right.
It's interesting. I don't know. That'll decide a lot. I think whoever they go with. I think JT Daniels is probably the better player.
Yeah,
Georgia has Auburn too.
Yeah, man.
Georgia's got so they're
Is it at Auburn?
They're at Arkansas, Auburn at home, Tennessee at home, at Alabama,
Sheesh.
at Kentucky,
That's a tough road.
and then bye Florida game.
So all right, that's a very tough road. Let's look at Florida.
Okay.
Because that's interesting to me to see. Okay, they could end up losing 2 to 3 games in that stretch, pretty easily. I could say.
Georgia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's look at Florida. I know they got LSU.
Week 4.
Yeah, they have Georgia.
You got Georgia.
Got A&M is what they have,
A&M
right?
week 3 at A&M.
Right.
They start at Ole Miss. They got Tennessee is the last game on their schedule.
Mhm.
At Tennessee. I don't know. I'd say a good number would be probably 8-2.
8-2.
Lose to LSU, lose to Georgia.
Okay.
Some sort of combination there.
Yeah, and so the head-to-head with Georgia, Florida, I think could be the determining factor there. Would you say?
Yeah.
So it's almost like
Always is.
yeah, and it's the same with LSU, Alabama. I feel like that's going to come down to them too. I just feel like LSU, Alabama are at a different level than Georgia, Florida, if that makes sense. But they could also lose to them in certain situations. Like I could see Alabama losing to Georgia. So you could have I think that might be my
I
goal.
think Alabama and Georgia are probably neck and neck.
I could see Florida, Georgia, both 8-2. The winner which I think Georgia. To me,
I don't know
Georgia.
if I see Georgia 8-2.
You think they're
If
worse?
they beat Florida. If Georgia beats Florida, I think they're 9-1 with the loss to Bama.
Okay. That road though. Auburn, Tennessee,
Yeah.
Kentucky. Kentucky's not bad this year either.
Yeah, everybody's forgetting about Kentucky. They have a quarterback that can throw passes now.
Terry Wilson. Yeah, he's not bad. Bless you. So 8-2 is what I say. 8-2 for Georgia and Florida. Georgia has the tiebreaker because they beat Florida. That's what I'll say. I'm sticking to it. All right. Here's what I'm at. LSU 10-0, Alabama 9-1.
Yeah.
So then LSU Georgia, SEC championship game, 10-0 versus 8-2. LSU wins. And then we go to a playoff. What's happening?
We go.
By then, the Earth will have.
We go to the playoff. Alabama gets in at 9-1.
Right.
And Texas gets in. We get to play Texas. We saw Ellinger say he cried when he found out he's not going to get to play LSU this year.
Oh, poor baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think we're playing football. Wouldn't you say?
That's what it looks like.
Do you think the Big Ten is going to come back? I don't think they are.
No. Because if they do, then that means that they have to admit that they were wrong, which they won't do.
Right.
Because then people will be getting fired.
So what's going to happen with the players, though? That's still my question, is the players that were going to play in this season, now they can't play, meanwhile other conferences can. Are they going to try to, jump ship?
Yeah.
It's almost, now it's close to too late. And
practice just now started. Be transferred right now.
I've gotten into a couple of,
But that's the thing, though. You haven't seen this mass exodus of players trying to enter the transfer portal.
Right.
Which is confusing to me.
I've gotten into a couple
sure
of,
we can see that.
a couple of debates on Facebook about players transferring, and it was after the Justin Fields with the LSU jersey on. Somebody posted it, and it was all funny.
Right.
I don't want that, obviously. Somebody could take Justin Fields, though.
I'm to be honest. I love Miles Brennan.
Oh yeah, that's not the question.
Miles Brennan guys. If Justin Fields wants to come here, bring him on down.
Who told me? I don't know who it was on Twitter, but they said it wasn't Miles Brennan. It was who's another good quarterback? Trey Lance from North Dakota State.
North Dakota State, right.
And somebody said he would be perfect at A&M. And I was thinking, okay, so if Trey Lance, who is probably a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, is what people had been saying before the season started. What if he transferred to Texas A&M? Would they? Do we have a question? Would they allow him to be the starter over Mond? Would Jimbo Fisher?
If they brought him in, yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. If they brought him in, then yeah.
Dude, they like Kellen Mond. I don't know what it is. I don't know what
they want to like Kellen Mond, and they're forcing themselves to like Kellen Mond. Okay, Alex King just asked. He didn't ask. He just said 2 football seasons in 1 year is going to cause a lot of interest.
No, agreed. That's not happening. They're not going to push back to the spring.
Nick Saban talked about this today. He said it's basically going to be like a JV league where all your upperclassmen, your juniors and your seniors are all going to be like, nah, I'm going to go pro and screw that.
Yeah.
So it's basically just going to be a bunch of underclassmen playing.
No, I agree.
I was listening to Moscone talk about it, and
I don't think that's happening at all. I think they were using that all as a big smokescreen to try to postpone the season, to try to say they weren't going to cancel the season.
Right. I think it's because of that is for for the smoke screen, and it's to keep players at the schools for a little while, and then eventually cancel it.
Yeah.
And it's to keep recruits interested.
Yeah, it's
in
to
Big
salvage
Ten
the
schools.
save face, man. So, but eventually there's going to be a player that decides, screw this, I'm going to go play right now.
Right.
And
It's not
wants
going
to
to be.
leave.
It's not going to be one of the guys who's a first round pick already. You're not going to go transfer and risk getting injured. No.
Well, here was the scenario I thought of for LSU, and there's only certain things that I would even take, and I understand, and part of the comments that the debate that we were having was a locker room presence, changing things up at the last minute, and all of a sudden you got a new guy coming in, and he takes somebody's position, and there's just like a bad, thing about it, and I get all that, but there's certain players that you're going to take. And my example is Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon.
Yeah.
Pass rusher, 10 sacks. What do you need to teach the guy?
Nothing.
You put him at the
You
edge.
should have put him over the guard and tell him to go.
Well, and here was the pushback on it was, well, why would he come if he's only going to play?
He wouldn't come because he's already a top 5 pick.
So he's just going to stay there and he's just going to wait. But he's a sophomore, so he's got another year.
Is he a sophomore?
Yeah, he was just a freshman last year.
Jesus.
So we recruited the guy.
What a beast.
We recruited him. There's a relationship
I
there.
could have sworn that was 2 years ago.
That's the kind of guy that I could see us grabbing last minute and trying to make an impact to where the kid doesn't just waste a year. Like, yeah, I'm sure you can get a red shirt for this, right?
Sure is
But
a sophomore.
He's not going to get a red shirt. Like, there's no need for him to red shirt. He wants to go 3 and then out.
Yeah.
So we're wasting time.
I mean, look at me. I'm saying he's a first round pick because I've seen
That's
him
right.
play,
And he is.
I just assumed.
He will be. It's just,
Oh my God, he's only
all right, so Justin
19
Fields.
years old.
Here's a hypothetical. Justin Fields.
That's someone. Okay. He's not leaving.
If he did,
Okay.
where would he wind up in the SEC and start right now? Good team. Don't give me like Vanderbilt and Arkansas and crap like that. Like, give me another team.
Well, I was
Say he goes, hey, look, Dan Mullen, I really like your offense because I kind of ran the same offense and I want to play at Florida.
Dan Mullen would go to Kyle Trask and would say, "Hey, do you remember when you were a backup in high school? Well, you're about to do that again."
He's going to.
You were really good at that. In
So
high
he's
school.
not going to.
We're gonna bring in Justin Fields and he's gonna start in your place.
Right. Okay. That's it. I thought you were saying the opposite way. I was like, wait.
He's going to Kyle Trask.
Okay. I almost had a stroke again. All right. So Auburn. If you went to Dan Mullen,
Yes.
okay, he's starting at Auburn.
Yes.
We already know.
Alabama. He's starting at Alabama.
What?
Go to hell, Mac Jones.
Saban would never do this. He would never take a guy like that last minute and do that. No way.
Saban is so cold-blooded. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I think he would be more about like trusting the quarterback and all that kind of stuff, right?
Here's my thing with where Justin Fields would go is that he would go somewhere where they have O-line that can protect him. You know?
Yeah,
He's
for sure.
at Ohio State right now. They can protect him.
Where's another place?
Yeah, where's another place where he can go and
I can tell you another
make sure he
place.
doesn't get sacked 5 times a game?
I can tell you another
Georgia.
place. Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he want to go back there?
Uh,
I don't think people like him in Georgia, right?
Yeah, that ended on the weird terms.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if
There was we don't have to talk about that. Yeah, that ended on weird terms.
it did. There was a lot of like, I mean, he was claiming stuff to get his waiver to get released. I know that.
I don't know if he was claiming it to get the waiver, or if it actually happened, or whatever. There were people that saying he was lying. I don't know. I don't want to comment on that. But I don't know. There's nowhere in the ACC that has a good offensive line. With the
No.
starting QB positions.
So let's talk about ACC.
Oklahoma.
There's plenty of places in the ACC you could go.
Oklahoma takes him over Rattler. You gotta imagine.
Yeah.
You gotta imagine at this point.
Well,
Lincoln Riley's sick of that little turd.
Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the worst.
That little jackass.
Douchebag.
It's like, I will do anything to make this little shit transfer.
Maybe I think they actually like him a lot. Like as a quarterback. His attitude is ridiculous.
Sure, they're sick of him.
Um,
Hearing him jabber while Jalen Hurts is the starter.
Right.
I'm sure that got annoying.
All right. So Justin Fields,
Texas.
Texas. He goes to Texas and he beats out Sam Ellinger. Sam Ellinger's on the bench just crying.
I want to play LSU.
All right. So, yeah, who's some other big names from the Big Ten that we can grab?
Well, the best defensive player in the country, Micah Parsons.
Well, he's already opted
He
out.
opted out, though, right?
Yeah, he already opted out.
They got that running back, Journey Brown.
At Penn State?
Yeah, we don't need running backs.
We don't need a running back. What do we need? I don't really think we need much other than maybe
Justin Thomas left today, maybe.
defensive line. So Kayvon Thibodeau. That would shore up a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just poaching, man. Let's just poach from the top.
I don't know who in the Big Ten is a good defensive.
So today they said
No.
Tyler Shelvin was 370
Oh my
pounds.
gosh.
He needs
What
to drop.
the hell, man?
Yeah, he's got to drop 30 pounds. Is what was said by Coach O today.
I think it was James Moran that said, is it a slim 370 pounds?
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know. How did he get up to 370, man? Jeez.
I don't know. I don't know how that happens and how you get to that point, but it's a little much. So yeah, defensive line is always something that's in need, and I still don't think we're done with opting out. People opting out. I think you're going to see more kids.
Right, Neil Fair just left. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, Farrell, Kerry Vincent, and now Justin Thomas.
You can always use more corners. You can always use another guy. You know, you can never be too deep at corner.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is going to be when school starts back up and kids are back on campus, like for sure. And what's going to happen with the student athletes? Are they going to be going to class? I think that's where you're going to have, okay, it's going to be a tight period for fans, football fans, because there's going to be a lot of clamoring out there. You're going to start hearing positive cases coming up. And if these conferences just stay steadfast, I don't see why we need to be canceling anything. There's protocols in place. I do not agree with students going, shouldn't say students going to class. I don't agree with football players going to class right now.
With students.
With students.
Yes, I agree.
Set them up online.
Yes.
Let's take care of this right now.
LSU's weird about this too.
Why put yourself in a
There's
position?
there's a lot of other schools that I know of that they're making sure that every student has like online options. I have like no online options.
Right.
Like I'm just taking classes on campus. I'm like I just have to go to campus.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I would have opted to go to campus anyway, but I just thought it was kind of bizarre that I had no option to stay online.
Well, I think, but in this case, it's just such a crazy scenario. And honestly, I could see, I think it was North Carolina, they decided they were going to go all online, the entire school.
Yeah.
So I could see scenarios like that too that pop up.
Just easier.
Yeah, it's going to be way easier. And that's the way you stop the spread, right? The hashtag stop the spread, that's it.
I have another friend that he goes to Grambling. And they were they're telling all their students like, hey, you can come stay on campus, but all their classes are online at Grambling.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying, hey, y'all can come stay on campus though still if you want. And that's when it hit me. I was like, they just want your money to stay on campus living. That's all it is.
Absolutely. They want your money. You come on, you get your money, and then all of a sudden they'll say, we're going to go online.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's why LSU's waiting so long to go online, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, it's just a profit game.
I know it's a matter of time.
Well, that's kind of what happened with North Carolina. It was the same situation where they had students come on campus. And then, I hope that happens sooner than later. Because I think if you had students on campus and then you started having a lot of outbreaks, the media is going to get in an uproar again, and it's going to become this whole political mess. And it's so simple, and let's just keep going. Nobody's getting hurt by this.
Yeah. It's hard to calm everybody down.
What did they say today? We had 3 positive cases for LSU football.
Yeah, he said 2 or 3. Coach.
But he didn't say who they were, obviously. But
Yeah, but Austin Deculus was out for undisclosed reasons, so there's one.
okay.
And then
Put 2 and 2 together.
so it's Austin Deculus and 1 or 2 other guys.
Okay, guys. So we're gonna wrap it up short tonight.
Shorter than yesterday, so okay.
All right. So we're gonna wrap it up. Here's our bold prediction. My bold prediction. You want to just call it the podcast bold prediction? Sure.
On me?
LSU is going 10-0. That's 10-0. And then 11-0.
And then
Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen.
12 and 13.
Are we even going to be alive then? I don't know what's happening in this world. I don't know what's happening. Yeah. Well, I do think we're going 10-0.
I think that's why I'm so
You're on edge.
I don't want to make predictions because everything that I thought would happen this year didn't happen.
Yeah, like say we get all jacked up and we're like, oh yeah, we're going 10-0, and then first week they cancel football. All right, guys. One of our first live streams, so we don't really know what we're doing yet. We're not the live guys. We like to record these, edit them, all that kind of stuff. But we're gonna be bringing more guests to you. We had the J Boy Show. Y'all go check him out on Twitter, Facebook. He's got all that.
And he's kind of just like an SEC guy.
Yeah, SEC guy. He does a lot of podcasts. He just had Barrett Salee on. He's had T-Bob on, so we all know those names. So he's doing some big things, and I think he's actually affiliated with Believe Podcasts now, so the Believe Network. And we have a couple of podcast networks after us right now, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, once they see these live streams,
They're jabbering all over us, aren't they?
Oh, they are. So we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Courtesy Buick GMC Automotive Group Studio. So big shout out to Brandon Lejeune. Courtesy Buick GMC have been big supporters of us. And we're going to keep trying to bring you guys some stuff. Reach out to us on Twitter. You can see our Twitter right down here at the bottom. See what I'm doing? Right down at the bottom. One Team, One Pod at Twitter. Also go to our website. You can check our website. Go to our shop page. Tons of t-shirt options at our shop page.
Coffee's for closers only.
It was a delay. Yeah, check us out there. We would, we're gonna always put up new t-shirts and stuff like that on there. So y'all reach out to us any way you can, if you can, on Twitter. Just let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about in the next kind of live show. We will be having Justin Vincent coming on the show. That is Monday, and we'll do a live stream for that as well. So we kind of wanted to get some kinks out first before we get to an episode like that, and we will be going over the January 2004 National Championship game. So we'll have to do an LSU rewind on that.
You know who else we need for that?
Who's that?
It's your boy, Marcus Spears.
Marcus Spears. Brandon Lejeune. We'll get Marcus Spears jumping on a call while we have Justin Vincent on the line. That'll be good.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. Oh, whoopsie. Yeah. All right, guys. We really appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. And then just keep looking out for some new stuff from us. We appreciate it.